Okay, we're back at this again. Sorry, Noah, this lesson is going to be split up into 3 videos for you now. Okay, so science fiction was what we had just watched, and that was showing us what movie?
Star Wars.
Star Wars. And what made it science fiction?
It was space.
It was in space.
Spaceships.
The spaceships. Lasers. The robot. All right. So now we're looking at Indiana Jones. What genre do you think it might be before we even get to that part of this video? Lucas? Realistic fiction? All right. What do you think?
Yeah, I think
Realistic? Historical fiction? Historical fiction. What are you thinking? Mystery? Okay, let's find out and see. Okay, it says he was your standard hero, which means that no matter what obstacle, he's probably going to overcome the odds. Not to mention that our hero is on a quest against evil forces. Kind of like this angry guy right here. Add all these factors together, and you've got yourself an adventure story. Now, that wasn't one of our papers that we had over there, was it? Okay. So, adventurous type stories like this would be fiction or nonfiction?
No.
Fiction. Because they aren't true stories about someone or something. All right. So it says, to any of you smarty pants out there who said that it could have also been historical fiction, let's see what they say about that. You're absolutely right. Because Indiana Jones is fighting against Nazi forces during a specific period in history, talking about like World War II times in the world. Historical fiction is when either the setting where it's taking place or when it's taking place, or the characters are from a specific time in history. So that specifically would have been taking place, they're saying, like during World War II. So the early 1900s. Which means a story can be considered historical fiction when you take a real or historical characters and place them in the modern world. So it's part historical, but it's fiction because it's happening right now. They're pretending like it's happening now. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
They're using historical pieces, but it makes it fiction because they're not leaving it back in history. They're bringing some of those things, some of those characters, some of those events to things happening now. this says, take a look. Here, we, sorry. I'm gonna pause it. Okay, so here we have a man who has been mysteriously transported. Do you know what it means to be transported?
Yeah.
So he's going from like times now back in time. Can that really happen? Okay. So he's transported, oh sorry, I had it mixed up. He's transported from medieval times back in time to the modern world as we know it.
Oh, it is beautiful. The water comes out by this.
He's in the men's restroom, friends.
It is a magic fountain. Look at this. It smells like the forest. All the forest is in the small wheel. Smell it.
No, thank you.
Don't want to smell it.
Enjoy yourself.
So if somebody came from way back in time to nowadays, okay, this is the movie Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It says Bill and Ted travel back in time to enlist the help of many historical figures, historical people, in order to pass a high school history project. Could that really happen?
No.
One of the greatest presidents in American history, Mr. Abraham Lincoln.
Could they bring Abraham Lincoln back into modern day with them? No.
Fourscore and 7 minutes ago, we, your forefathers, were brought forth upon a most excellent adventure, conceived by our new friends, Bill and Ted. These two great gentlemen are dedicated to a proposition which was true in my time, just as it's true today.
So was Abraham Lincoln a real historical figure? A real historical person?
To each
Yeah.
other. And party on, dudes!
Would he have done that back in that day?
No.
No. Okay, so here's something to always remember. Fantasy and realistic fiction are complete opposites. Okay? Like, totally opposite. See if you can spot the obvious differences. Here's clip 1. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Okay, so watching the different things that are occurring. Okay, so now clip 2. Karate Kid.
Fast enough. Yeah, I see.
Good job.
Okay, so think about, oh my gosh, Mrs. Lofink. Find where we were. Sorry about that.
And the clip of the guy beating up the other kids.
I thought I was hitting pause. Okay. Pause. There. So one clip had a boy fighting a dragon. Could that really happen?
No.
So what genre do you think that one was?
Fantasy.
Definitely fantasy. Okay. While the other one had Jackie Chan, that was the older guy in The Karate Kid, beating up a bunch of children.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you think the genre of that one would be?
Historic. Realistic.
Well, let's keep looking here. It says while it's highly unlikely, I'd assume, for Jackie Chan to want to beat up some children, it could still happen within reality, right?
Yep. Because at the time.
I mean, could that really happen? Yeah, it could. Could fighting a dragon really happen?
No.
Or flying on like a broom is basically what that is in the movie. Meanwhile, until scientists discover an actual dragon, we'll have to file that under the fantasy category. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, scientists.
Here's two more. Clip one. Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Good God, man! You almost got the cheese touch. The what? The cheese touch. One day, a kid named Darren Walsh made the biggest mistake of his life. Darren touched the cheese! Darren had the cheese touch. It was worse than nuclear cooties. The only way to get rid of the cheese touch was by passing it on to someone else.
Yeah, I love the color.
And so began the cheese touch frenzy. Friend turned on friend. Until a German exchange student named Dieter Müller took it away that fateful day.
Peter has a cheese touch.
Der Cheese Touch? Wie bitte? Ich verstehe nicht. Warum rennt ihr? Was soll das heißen, der Cheese Touch? He moved back to Düsseldorf and took the Cheese Touch with him. And so the cheese sits, patiently waiting for its next victim. Wow. This is a terrible place.
Okay. So, what genre do you think that would be? First off, is it fiction or is it non-fiction? It is fiction. Specifically, what kind of fiction would that be? Did it have like the cheese flying and the cheese talking?
No.
That would make it fantasy. Amy's kind of thinking realistic fiction.
Folk tale? Really?
A folk tale? It's not a folk tale because it's not a story that's passed down from time to time. Jenny, is your hand raised? It's dark, I can't see very well. Haley?
Realistic fiction.
Haley's thinking possibly realistic fiction.
Realistic.
You're thinking that too?
Realistic.
You do too? Okay, let's look at clip 2.
What did you do? Hey, what did you do to him?
Watch it, little girl.
He didn't want this.
What did we do? What did he do? What did he tell you? Both of you calm
Nothing.
down.
He tells me nothing because he's scared of you.
Paul, don't.
Too late now.
Bella, get back. Paul, get back now.
Realistic fiction?
No.
Bella!
Before we even go any more, do you think you know what it is?
Yes.
What do you think it is?
Fantasy.
Why?
Because the guy just turned into a wolf.
Well, that's normal, isn't it?
No.
You don't get angry enough to turn into a wolf?
No.
Really? Huh. I do.
Do what?
Do it, she says. Well, that's normal too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
All right. So clip 2 seems like realistic fiction until the dude turns into a wolf,
Yeah.
which of course makes it, what did we already say?
Fantasy.
Here's one last fantasy clip just for fun.
You're a little too heavy, buddy. Yeah. We're going down. What
made that fantasy?
It's flying on a dragon.
Well, the guy was talking and the guy was flying?
No, not the guy.
Oh.
The dragon.
The dragon was talking and flying, and are dragons real?
No.
Okay. Alright. So, these clips that we just looked at were fictional genres. But these are some non-fiction. Okay, it says, this clip from the documentary Never Say Never uses actual footage of real life and real people.
Hello.
Says this is similar to non-fictional texts because they both tell true stories with factual information.
How are you? Yes, I am. Nice to meet you. I used to sit on those steps and I used to play here too. So keep playing. You always follow your dreams, okay? Alright, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay. So let's review. Genre is a literary category. Fantasy and realistic fiction are complete opposites. Adventure stories feature a hero on a dangerous quest. I can't read that fast. Science fiction features friendly robots, lasers, spaceships, and other science-type things that could exist with the help of scientists. But do they really? No. Historical fiction uses real historical characters and or settings to tell a fictional story. So is it a true life story? If it's fictional? No. They're just using some of those things from the past. And nonfiction tells true factual stories about young Canadian pop stars with weird haircuts. Because that's what we saw in that Justin Bieber snippet. All right, excellent. Now you're all experts, right? Okay. Okay, Jenny, you want to turn the lights back on for us? We're going to do some more genre review things tomorrow. But for today, with the tornado drill and all that, we're going to be done.